Jurors, every piece of evidence that you're getting is recorded, and we have to keep a very clear record. So sometimes we spend time that may seem like a waste of time to you, but it's very, very important for the case. So we do appreciate your patience. All right, go ahead, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. Trooper Bukhenik, you shared with us that you met with some of the members of the state police that night and then returned to the Norfolk County District Attorney's office to put the clothing on butcher paper, you called it. What was your next step in your investigation?
We met and discussed the next steps. My decision was to go back to 34 Fairview and excavate for the missing clothing item, being Mr. O'Keefe's hat. There was also plans to start writing search warrants.
Did the weather get better over the next couple days?
The weather did take a turn for the warmer temperatures, yes.
Did you return to Fairview a few days later on February 3rd?
Yes, I did.
Was that the first time you personally had visited 34 Fairview?
Yes, it was.
When you went to 34 Fairview on February 3rd, 2022, do you remember about what time in the morning you went?
Sometime between 8:30, 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30.
When you went there, did you travel with anybody?
Yes.
Who did you travel with?
It was other members of my unit and a member from crime scene services.
Did you all travel in the same vehicle, or did you meet there?
We all traveled in our own issued cruisers.
Was this a planned search or a planned excavation on February 3rd?
Yes, it was.
2022?
Yes, it was.
Who was there at the scene, 34 Fairview, with you?
It was Trooper DeChico, Mike Proctor, and Trooper Evan Brent.
And Trooper Evan, last name?
Brent.
Brent. Was Trooper Brent the photographer?
Yes.
What type of tools did you bring when you went to 34 Fairview?
We brought snow shovels, garden shovels. I brought a like an E-tool, military-style E-tool.
Was there still some snow on the ground?
There was, yes.
Did you and the members of the group begin to look for any evidence?
Yes, we did.
Were you looking on the street, or did you move to more on the grass?
Objection, Your Honor.
Ask it differently.
What area were you focused on at this point?
We were focused on the lawn portion of the property by in the vicinity of the flagpole, the fire hydrant, and along the edge of the asphalt.
Did you see a berm, an asphalt berm, separating the concrete street and the yard?
Yes.
Were you looking anywhere near the area of the berm?
We did, yes.
Were you looking anywhere on the street?
The street was plowed, but portions of the street still had remnants of snow, so we did check that area, but it was much easier to identify anything because it was clear of snow.
Where was most of your focus?
On the lawn.
As you worked your way through the lawn, did you or members of your team come across any items that you believe to be evidence?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to produce some of that evidence to us. Beginning with 535, did you find a number of pieces of plastic?
Yes.
Could you produce 535?
Yes, sir.
Let me just ask you a couple questions before you open that. If somebody identified an object that they believed to be evidence, what was the process for handling it?
On this day, we identified evidence. The process would have been documenting each item that was located with photographs. Then one of the members of the individuals present would bag each item into a paper bag.
When they were bagged, would a person bagging them use any type of protection like you're using?
Absolutely, every time.
After the items were bagged, was the bag sealed?
Eventually, it was sealed. Yes.
When you say eventually, what does that mean?
Once it was, all the items were inside, and it was brought back to the office, it would be sealed, signed, completely filled out, with all the pertinent information on the back.
Could you open that bag?
Yes, sir.
Before you take the pieces out, I'm asking you to look in. Do you recognize those pieces?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize them to be?
I recognize them to be the items that we recovered from the lawn area on the left side of 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd, 2022, during the planned excavation of the property.
And were they photographed before they were put in that bag?
They were.
Your Honor, may I approach before Trooper Bukhenik?
Yes.
Those items, were they eventually sent for analysis to a Massachusetts State Police lab?
Yes, they were.
When the laboratory received those items, are you familiar whether they marked them with a label or a number for identification?
Objection, Your Honor.
I want to allow that.
Yes, they mark each item individually.
Do those items have markings on them reflected by an item number?
Yes, they are.
When you refer to a piece, will you refer to that item number that is on any individual piece?
Once it's labeled, it is identified by that individual piece, by that designated label.
So if there's any numbers written on any of those pieces, was that written by you?
No.
Would that have been written by somebody else after it was sent?
Yes, at the lab.
Okay. If we can begin, if you can begin to take the pieces out so we can show them to the jury. And does that have a number on it or a tag?
Yes, it does. This is item 22-02-184-7-8, also alphanumeric A.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
These two are taped together.
When you found them, were they taped together?
No. They're taped together by the lab. There's also a canister labeled debris collection. That number is 22-02-184-7-8.1. This is 7-8G. This is 7-8N, as in November. There are also items too small to label with a letter and number. Those were put into a bag like this. Almost looks like a stamp bag, wax stamp bag.
Are those all the items in that bag?
Altogether, there are, it does look like those are all the items. Some of them are inside the canister that I pulled up.
Understood. You know how to move those items into evidence, please?
Exhibit 95.
Sir, you mentioned that there was a trooper there photographing the evidence.
Yes, sir.
Did the photographer take a photograph of the items in place when they were found, or were the items moved to a different location before they were photographed?
That day, every item was photographed where it was found.
With the court's permission, I'd like to show a number of exhibits to the jury.
Okay.
And starting with Exhibit 89, which is P490 7690. Trooper, is that one of the items you found that morning?
Yes, it is.
Do you know where, in relation to the fire hydrant or the flagpole, this item was recovered?
It was in the general vicinity between the flagpole and the fire hydrant. The area we were excavating was approximately 40 to 50 square feet in area.
Mr. Brennan, can that be expanded, please, so that the jurors can see what we're looking at?
Thank you, Your Honor. Is the item that you recovered on top of that leaf?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. If I could next show Exhibit 90, which is P492 7692. Before we close up, sir, is that the fire hydrant that is at the corner of 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, it is.
Could we close up, please, on that? Why is there a ruler on the ground?
The ruler is utilized to help put the item to scale by the photographer from Crime Scene Services. They utilize these measuring rulers for scale of the item that you're looking at. Sometimes it's hard to depict how large an item is if there's no reference point.
Could we do a little bit further view to show the fire hydrant? Thank you. Is that where this piece of evidence was found, in that exact location?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'd like next to show to the jury Exhibit 91, which is P515 7721. Do you recognize that piece of evidence?
Yes, sir.
Could we zoom in, please? Is that the same piece of evidence that is depicted in Exhibit 89, P490 7690, a different angle with the ruler?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. If we could have Exhibit 92, please, which is P493 7694. Could you zoom in, please? Is that piece of evidence in the bag that you've provided as evidence, physical evidence?
Yes, sir.
Was this found near the area of the other pieces?
Yes, it was.
If we could show Exhibit 93, P507 7711, please. Could you zoom in, please? How long did you spend that day looking, you and the team, for pieces of evidence?
It was Probably 45 to an hour.
And finally, if I could show Exhibit 94, P5037707. And could you zoom in, please? And this piece of evidence, where in relation to the other pieces was this found?
In the same vicinity.
Thank you. If you could take that down, please. When you were searching, did you find any item near the street area?
Yes, we did.
What did you find?
A black plastic drinking straw.
With the court's permission, I'd like to show Exhibit 98 to the jury.
Okay.
And that is P4887688. Sir, could you look at that photograph? And Ms. Gilman, could you close? Do you recognize what's in that photograph?
I do.
And what is that?
That is the photograph of the straw we picked up from the street in front of 34 Fairview Road.
Could we zoom out a little bit, please, Ms. Gilman? Is that the area where you or your team recovered that straw?
That is exactly where it was found and recovered from.
That photograph doesn't show much of the grass area. How far is that area from the fire hydrant?
It's probably, with my estimate, 15 feet, maybe 20 from the fire hydrant. It's probably 15 to 20 feet, if I had to estimate.
Thank you. You mentioned that one of the items that you went back to Fairview to try to find was a hat. Why were you specifically looking for a hat?
I had learned that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing a black baseball hat the night prior to the incident. So with us recovering the clothing from the hospital and the hat was not part of that pile of clothing, we needed to see where the hat was. That could have been a lead. That could be a clue of where Mr. O'Keefe was last prior to being discovered.
Did you or the team ultimately find a hat that morning?
Yes.
Could I have you produce 537?
Yes, sir.
All right, move that item into evidence.
So this is going to be 96.
Thank you.
Exhibit 96.
Thank you.
With the court's permission, Trooper Bukhenik, could you open that and show it to the
Yes.
jury? Sir, can you describe what you see here?
Yes, that's the excavation track by one of the members at the scene. You could see the hat frozen flat to the bottom, or on the bottom of the snow, right on top of the grass. It was under approximately 1.5 feet of snow that had accumulated in the area.
Okay, next show 99B, P527, 7735.
This is again the close-up of the frozen flat hat to the grass at 34 Fairview Road.
Next is 99C, P529, 7739, please.
Once pulled out and flipped over, again, this is the same hat belonging to Mr. O'Keefe that was discovered frozen flat to the grass at the scene.
Thank you. You can take that down, please. Did you search the entire front lawn at that time?
No, we did not.
And we can see from those photographs, is there still snow in that yard?
Yes.
As you continued your investigation, did you continue to go back to Fairview over time?
Yes, based on the amount of snow still present and the fact that we were finding pieces of broken taillight and glass at the scene, and items that we did not expect to find, like a cocktail glass straw. I directed my members to go by the scene every day as the temperatures rose. Snow would expose more evidence on the lawn, and with the hopes of finding each and every item that was present.
On February 4th, the next day, 2022, did you receive a call?
Yes, I did.
Not what was said, but who was that call from?
I believe it was
I don't want you to guess if you don't know. Was the person a member of any group?
yes,
From what group?
it was Canton Police.
As a result of receiving a call from the Canton Police, or someone from the Canton Police on February 4th, 2022, did you go anywhere?
I was already en route to 34 Fairview to conduct a directed check of the area.
When you say directed check, you drive by every day on your way to work?
I told my members on every day to work and home to make sure someone's checking the lawn to make sure that any evidence that exposes itself through the melting snow would be identified and collected.
As you were on your way there, you received a call from someone from the Canton Police?
Yes,
Did you arrive at 34 Fairview on February 4th, 2022?
I did.
When you got there, did you see any more items?
Yes, I did.
How many?
One item, a larger in size red taillight piece had revealed itself, and it was collected.
Could you produce 710, please?
Yes.
Is that 710, sir?
7-10, yes, sir.
I'd move that item into evidence, please.
No objection.
Exhibit 100.
With the court's permission, could Trooper Bukhenik open the item and show it to the jury?
Yes.
Thank you. Did anybody photograph that item where it was found?
Yes, there was a photograph taken.
Did you take the photograph?
No, I did not.
How did you receive the photograph?
It was attached to the Canton police reports that were provided. Canton police documented that item in place.
May I approach? Is that a photograph of the item you just showed the jury, sir?
Yes, it is.
And where was it in relation to the other pieces that you had found on February 3rd?
It was further to the right. If you're looking at the property, if you have the fire hydrant on your left, it was further to the right, on the right bank of the snow that was melting on the lawn.
Is that on the lawn or on the pavement?
That's on the lawn.
And could we show the close-up, please, P47? Does that bag contain some of the items you found on February 10th at Fairview Road?
Yes, it does.
I'd move that into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Exhibit 102.
Can you describe generally the size of the items in that bag?
Generally speaking, there's 6 plastic pieces of clear and red and black items that are in size approximately to like a $50.
Without going through every one of them, can you just pull out one red and one clear to show the jury a representative sample of what's in the bag? In total of the 6 items in that bag?
In total, there are 6 items in the bag.
When you retrieved those items, did you use the same protocol of gloves in a bag?
Yes.
Did you photograph these items when you took them?
Not on this day, no.
Why not?
We had been to the scene so many times. It was the same general vicinity, and we just made the decision not to have crime scene come out to photograph these six pieces.
Were they in any remarkably different position than the other pieces? Anything that stood out, or were they in the... Let me rephrase that. Where were they generally in relation to the other pieces that you had found?
They were all in the general area where the other pieces had been located. It was on the left side of the lawn, but near the flagpole, between the road and the home.
Was there another group of items that you found that day that you put in a separate bag?
Yes.
Could you provide us... May I approach? I'm not sure if I've marked this one for evidence.
Yes.
Your Honor. In that bag, are there different types of items? The items you showed us before appear to be plastic.
Yes, these items are packaged in wax paper. There's 14 pieces in total, and these items contain glass and plastic fragments, some of which are also within like a cylindrical tin container that you saw earlier.
Could you show us some of the glass pieces, please?
Yes, sir. I'm going to have to open the wax bag.
Please. Could you stand so the people in the back can see? Thank you. Were there a number of different items inside that are inside that bag that you found that day?
Yes, there are a number of glass pieces taped and labeled for identification at the lab and mechanically pieced together to form this one piece in my right hand, and this is one solid, thick piece of curved glass in my left hand.
And again, is this February 10, 2022?
Yes, it is.
The last evidence bag, you said that you did not photograph where they were found. Did you photograph where these pieces were found?
No, I did not. No.
Any different reason than the last bag?
No.
Do you have a memory of where these items were found in relation to the items in the last bag?
Yes, they were all in the general vicinity where all the other taillight pieces were located, as well as the baseball hat.
How much snow was on the ground at this point?
Most of the snow had melted. There might have been some areas that was still present because of the excavation that took place. So very little to no snow was present at this point in time.